How did you begin TMZ and with who? Changing subjects.
Such a long story. I had a show called Celebrity Justice with Warner Brothers, and the guy who was running the TV division, which is called Telepictures, Jim Paratori. Jim called me in one day and he said, "How'd you like to run a website?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm a TV guy. What do you mean run a website?" And then I looked at him and I said, "Are you canceling my show?" He said, "Yes," because we just couldn't make a business out of Celebrity Justice. And so I said, there is no way in the world I'm going to run a website, because nobody was doing websites with news or anything like that back then. Nobody. And so, except Drudge, and he was just aggregating news. And not just, I mean, it was a big deal, but he was aggregating. He wasn't running a news site in the sense of breaking stories. And I'm like, forget it. And so I said no. And like 2 months went by and he was looking for somebody else and almost hired her. And I went to Mexico and I was in this kind of margarita haze. And I was just thinking, wait a minute, that website thing. If you can start a website where you have all of the features of a news organization with lawyers and producers and researchers, and you can get a story. You don't have a publishing cycle like a newspaper or magazine, and you don't have a time period like a television show. So you get it right and you get it up. You can beat everybody. Yeah. And I thought, well, that's simple. And I came back and I said, if that job's still available, let's talk. And that's how we did it. And Jim ultimately left being president of Telepictures to be my partner at TMZ, which was the greatest honor of my career. And we launched this thing together. And he was amazing and guided me and us, you know, in terms of how to create the business and the technology. And Jim was amazing. And one day, like, I think it was 2013, he went on vacation in France and I got a call. He died of a heart attack on a bike. And it was shocking.
And that's the bike, the same bike that hangs in our kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah, the TVs.
Yes.
What about the name? There was
I mean, I went through a million things with it, and we were trying to come up with a name, and I had an idea. What do we call it? Pop salad, because it'll be like everything in a salad together. And so I went out and tested it I took a microphone and a camera out, and I tested in Marina Del Rey, and everybody hated it. So then everybody at Warner Brothers started coming up with names, and I was looking and hated it. And then on a Sunday one day, this guy named David Auerbach, who worked there, calls me up and he says, I've got 60 names. Okay, hated it. Then he says, 30 Mile Zone, hated it. I said, what's 30 Mile Zone? And he said, it's like on the after contracts. It's where it has to do with when you have to pay a per diem to extras. And if you're outside the 30 Mile Zone, you don't. But if you're outside, you do. But if you're inside, you don't. And it's this radius around Hollywood. And I thought, wait a minute, TMZ. And I thought, I like the Z. And Celebrity Justice, we called it CJ. And it became kind of a thing. And I thought, wait a minute, we can call this TMZ. And so it took me 2 months to convince people that you know what? Screw it. I'll just tell you the story.
Tell the story.
Now I'm going to tell you a story that I shouldn't tell.
It's a good story.
Now I shouldn't tell it. So Warner Brothers is like, oh, I don't know. It sounds like the demilitarized zone, the DMZ. And it's like, nobody remembers that. And so we went back and forth. And I finally convinced him, let's do TMZ. So we did a search and we found out that somebody else owned it. And it was a company that did robots. And at the time, they were not a thing. And so AOL, which was our partner at the time, it was AOL Warner Brothers, they said, we have a whole division that acquires URLs. So we'll work on it. So a week passes and I call them up and they say, yeah, we're working on it. 2 weeks pass. Yeah, we're working on it. 4 weeks pass. We're working on it. I said, have you called the guy? And they said, no, but we're working on it. And they said we've got a whole committee on it. And I'm like, we can't design this website until we have a name, and we've got to launch in a month. And so you got to do something. And they said, and I said, I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to call the guy. And they said, do not do that. And I remember they said, if you do it, it's going to cost $100,000 to get this. We can get this for half that price. Do not make the call. And I'm sitting there thinking, we're never going to meet our deadline. And I said, screw it. So I called the guy. And at the time, we were in Glendale, California. Mm-hmm. And this guy could be right anywhere in the world, right? Anywhere in the world, right? He's in Burbank, which is the next city over. He could have been anywhere in the world. So I call him up and I say, and I'm thinking, okay, I got to play this. I shouldn't. Okay,
no, you have to continue.
Screw it, I'll just tell you. So I called him up and I said, hey, man, my name's Harvey Levin. And like, I don't know, I want to start this website and I had a TV show, but it got canceled. And I don't know, I was thinking of starting like a website or something, but, I kind of like your TMZ thing, but I don't know, like, man, if I wanted to buy it, like, how much would it cost or, whatever. and he's thinking and he's like, well, I don't know, like $5,000. And I'm sitting there thinking, holy crap. And I said, wow, man, that's a lot of money. I don't know. Can I think about it and call you back? Because I figured if I was too anxious, he'd up the price, right? And God, if he's listening, he's going to kill me. And so he said, yeah, you can call me back. So I just paced for 40 minutes. And I thought, I can't call him back too soon. So I call him back and I said, oh, man, like, my rent's due in like 2 weeks. And I don't know, man, like if I pay the rent, I'm not going to have the $5,000 in the bank. So like, I don't know if I do it, I just got to like do it now so I can go to the bank and I'll just pull whatever I got out. And if I think I got $5,000. So like, I don't know if I got it, can I like drive over there? And he said, okay. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong.
No.
And so, so his office was at the Burbank airport. He had a little office there. So I go around the office in Glendale and I said, who's got the shittiest car here? And this guy says, I've got this Toyota Corolla that's really beat up. And I said, give me your keys. And I got in the Toyota Corolla. And he had, those iced teas with the big iced tea. And it looks almost like whiskey. Cup. And it looks like whiskey almost.
Oh, yeah.
So I put it on the seat so he'd think I was like also had a drinking problem. And so I drive over to the Burbank airport and I get him to sign the document and I give him the $5,000 and I drive back to AOL and I said, I just got the URL. And I called AOL and I said, I just got the URL.
What was their reaction?
Well, they said, how much did it cost? And I said, $5,000. And they said, okay, I need you to sign it over to us. And I said, fine, for $100,000.
What did they? No way.
I wasn't serious.
They were pissed off, though.
Oh, they were so pissed off.
Yeah.
I wanted to yutz them, but no, I didn't charge them for that. But that's how I got tips. I know.
That's funny.
And I never heard from the guy. I always thought I would hear from him, and I never heard from him in all these years.
Well, if he's watching now.
I mean, he wanted to sell it, and he came up with the price. What am I going to do? Say, oh, I want to pay you more?
Yeah, it's true. He ended with $5,000.
Okay, do you hate me for this story is what I want to know. Or do you respect me for it, or do you hate me for it? That's what I want to know. I need to get a sense from you because I really haven't told that story.
Yeah.
People
are saying they love it. Lauren says she loves it.
Okay, well, that's one person.
Are you ready for any legal questions?
Yeah, you can. Well, no, you know what? We're going to do it on the podcast.
Yes. So Harvey's going to film a podcast that will be up tomorrow, 10 a.m.
So shady, Harvey. I knew. Yeah, they said it's shady.
One person said that. Smart move. Great story. Love you more for the story. Mad respect, big respect. Mad love, respect. We love you. See? I'm telling you.
That's funny. It's really funny.